Welcome to the deep dive. You've shared just a massive amount of material with us here. History, politics, all these, dark secrets from the Baldurs Gate collected works. We're going to try and cut straight through it.
It really is phenomenal stuff. We're
Yeah.
talking thousands of years of history in Faerûn. And yeah, our mission today isn't just like a simple summary.
Right.
It's more about synthesizing all that history, trying to uncover the real nature of power in this world, from the gods, the ancient ones who basically created everything, right down to the modern villains,
Yeah.
merchant princes, tyrants, the lot.
Okay, let's get into it then, because to really understand the mess, the political turmoil happening now, you kind of have to go way, way back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because the essence of magic itself, it seems, is just built on conflict. I mean, the twin goddesses, Saloon for light and Shar for darkness.
Exactly. And what's really key here, what you need to grasp, is that magic, the actual energy of the world, it was literally born from violence. Well, the sources say Mistral, who later became Mistra, the goddess of magic, she was violently ripped into existence from the warring essence of those two sisters, Saloon and Shar, during this huge primal battle.
Wow.
So it sets up this core idea, right? Magic is inherently chaotic. It's this mix of warring light and dark from the get-go.
And speaking of deities defined by conflict, we definitely need to talk about the Dead Three.
Oh, absolutely.
So Jurgal, he was the original lord of the end of everything, but he got bored, tired of his own power.
Yeah, the text says he found infinite power without any challenge, was only gloom. He was just tired of it all.
Yeah.
So 3 ambitious mortals, Bane, Paul, and Merkel, they stepped up. They wanted his job, basically.
And how did they decide who got what? It wasn't exactly a formal interview process, I imagine.
No, not at all. Their first plan apparently was a skull bowling contest.
Skull bowling? Seriously?
Yep, but Malar the Beast Lord interrupted them, so they settled it playing knuckle bones with Jurgal's own finger bones.
Okay, that's suitably grim.
And the result was this split of power. Bane took tyranny and strife, Merkel took charge of the dead, and Bhaal, the Lord of Murder, he chose death itself, specifically assassination.
So when Bhaal chose murder, was that just like brute ambition, or was there something more strategic there? Because tyranny or ruling the dead seem, I don't know, bigger.
Oh, it's definitely strategic, maybe even genius in a twisted way. His choice created this perfect bloody cycle. Bhaal demanded that both Bane and Merkel pay him honor,
Why?
because he claimed control over the pathway between their realms. He controls the journey from Bane's living subjects who suffer strife to Merkel's kingdom of the dead.
So he's a middleman.
Exactly. He ensures the supply chain of souls.
Yeah.
It's basically divine, vertically integrated, organized crime.
Right. That really sets the stage for, well, everything that follows in Faerûn.
Yeah,
Endless violence.
pretty much.
Okay, so let's bring it down from the cosmic scale to the city itself. Baldur's Gate, its namesake, Baldurin. There's a whole unsettling history there too, isn't there? We have his ship's logs, the Wandering Eye.
Yeah, Baldurin's logbook, it's full of these little details. Like you mentioned, avoiding a northern route to steer clear of bloody elves suggests they were maybe pirates or just very aggressive.
Okay.
But the real mystery, the sinister part, starts when he finds all this wealth over in Ankaron. And he decides to replace his original crew by conscripting 150 locals.
And this is where things get really weird, right? Because he notes the new recruits are, what, quite calm and orderly.
Yeah, which is a huge contrast to his original guys, who suddenly become quite shallow in the face and sick, just ill.
And there's that odd bit about a shaman being thrown overboard, someone who's stirred up the crew.
The implication is pretty heavy, isn't it? That the new crew, maybe the shaman too, brought some kind of magical or, deeply sinister influence with them.
Something happened right after that conscription.
Yeah, something that made the original crew sick and, well, resigned. When you think about it, the city of Baldurs Gate, founded by this guy, its foundations are kind of built on this magical cover-up. Mass poisoning, maybe? It's not exactly a proud origin story.
No, definitely not. It sets a pretty dark precedent. Okay, let's shift gears completely. Away from ancient curses and weird sea voyages, and look at the political engine driving things on the Sword Coast now. We have to talk about Am, that hyper-capitalist oligarchy. Yes.
Their entire identity is just wealth. Ceaseless pursuit of gold. The source material even says it's hard to find written history there because people are just too busy trying to fill their coffers.
They look forward to profit, not back at history.
Exactly. But that single-minded greed almost wrecked them, 24 years ago? There was that brutal trade war.
Right, internal fighting, crazy tariffs, caravans getting raided, commerce just ground to a halt.
And into that chaos steps Thaye Chant and the Council of Six. And this is a masterclass in grabbing power. The source details how they did it.
Ow.
First, they carefully made up and spread false rumors, external threats, pirate invasions, orc hordes massing, even an elf army supposedly on the move.
To distract everyone with fear they could control.
Precisely. Create a common enemy, unite the market forces against it. And then, the really clever bit. They all dropped their fancy family names.
Why? To seem like regular merchants.
Exactly. To get broad support from the common merchant class. Avoid looking like just another self-serving noble clique. It's pure, ruthless, realpolitik. Calculated.
Okay, contrast that sort of calculated financial ruthlessness with Dambrath, a nation apparently forged in betrayal and pain.
Oh, completely different flavor of ruthless. Dambrath is a matriarchy. It started when the Archean barbarian kingdom got conquered by an alliance, believe it or not, of Drow, dark elves, and priestesses of Loviatar, the Maiden of Pain. They call themselves the Nation of Pain.
Sounds lovely, and there's a specific betrayal.
Incredibly specific and cruel. The Archean king, Reiltar IX, his forces were trapped at a place called Baldur. Then these half-elven pilgrims show up, led by Kathir Shintar. They offer help.
And then, let me guess.
They turned on the Archeans, stabbed them in the back, literally and figuratively. Allowed the Dry Alliance to win the war. A 30-year war, mind you.
So Kathir and her priestesses took over.
They did. They established the Krintri, these Drow half-elves, as the ruling class. And maybe the most chilling part, how power is passed down.
Oh.
Through daughters, often involving assassination. Kathir herself was supposedly killed by her own daughter, Felina. Brutality isn't just polity, it's baked into the succession plan.
Wow. Okay. So, speaking of ruthless ambition and constant struggle, let's head north.
Yeah.
Shatterdale.
Always under threat from the Zhentarim, right? The Black Network.
Yeah, the Zhentarim. Their goal is huge. Total control of all trade between the Sword Coast of Waterdeep, Baldurs Gate, and the entire Moonsea region. They want it all.
And Shatterdale has had a rough time resisting them. Leadership crises, assassinations.
Definitely. They lost Lord Omri to Zhent assassins, had a Zhent puppet lord, Jordhan, forced on them for a while, but the stability they have found comes partly from their unusual way of choosing leaders.
The Lord is chosen by acclamation. People just sort of agree. Pretty much. The Sage Elminster actually praised it, said it avoids the generic lottery of which good bureaucracies and bad kingships are made.
So they pick based on need, not just birthright, like the current lord, Morngrim M. Cathra. He was chosen by a former leader, Doust Sulwood, specifically to protect the Dale.
It forces them to value competence, especially when you're facing a constant, insidious threat like the Zhentarim. It demands quick, capable action.
Which brings us nicely to the great minds, or maybe the dark minds, behind so much of the conflict in this world, the antagonists.
Right, where to start?
Let's start with Johnny Rennicus. Reading his first journal, he seems almost tragic, in a villainous way. Cursed by Elasim, lamenting he only feels the threadbare heart of a human.
Yeah, but he still has all the rage and power of an elf. It's a weird mix. The text even mentions hallmarks of senility alongside this immense power. A truly broken figure.
And he used Spellhold for his barbaric experimentation while he was like this, trying to fix himself.
Exactly. Seeking a cure or freedom from the curse. And you see his coldness, his clinical detachment, when he talks about Emon, his test subject. He basically says she's finished with, though she can still serve as bait for Gorion's ward. Chilling.
But then the second journal hits, it's like a completely different person. A total victory cry.
Massive shift. He declares he's free of the curse. He feels the essence of the gods. That's the turning point. He's restored, yes, but now he's utterly consumed by revenge and this grand villainous plan.
And that ambition, wanting to consume divine essence, that links directly to Sarevok, doesn't it?
It does. Sarevok Anchev. For anyone listening who might not know, he's a Bhaal spawn. One of the mortal children of Bhaal, the god of murder we talked about earlier.
And his diary. It lays out this incredibly detailed plot by the Iron Throne group. Over years, 1367 to 1370 DR.
It wasn't just random chaos, it was meticulous. An industrial sabotage plan, almost.
How'd it work?
They contaminated iron ore coming out of the Nashville mines, using kobolds to do the dirty work. Then they hired mercenaries, like the Chill, the Black Talons, to attack the iron caravans heading to Baldurs Gate, destroying supplies.
Creating an artificial shortage. And driving up prices,
Yeah,
presumably?
exactly. And the master stroke. They carefully framed the Zhentarim for it all. Their main rivals in organized crime. Pure deflection.
All to create instability.
Hey.
Why? What was Sarevok's personal goal?
His research, which he did at Candlekeep, confirmed he was a Bhaalspawn, his divine heritage. And this led him to a terrifyingly logical conclusion, for him at least.
Which was?
He needed to commit death on a godlike scale. Mass murder. To offend, to take his father Bhaal's place among the dead three.
And there's that final awful detail in the diary about his mortal father, Reiltar.
Yeah, that just drives home the personal hatred mixed in with the divine ambition. He plans to murder Reiltar using a garrote.
Which is exactly how Reiltar killed Sarevok's mother.
The exact same method. It ties this grand, cosmic, god-level plot right back to a single act of brutal, familial revenge.
It really shows that even these figures aiming for godhood, they're driven by very mortal things. Vengeance, ambition.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've looked at the gods, the politics, the big villains, and the plots. But what about the day-to-day reality for adventurers or even the victims of Sarevok's schemes? Let's talk practicalities. Magical items, for instance, those stat-boosting books.
Yes, the manuals of bodily health, tomes of clear thought, and so on. Very useful, obviously, but they disappear after you read them once.
Poof, gone.
Yeah. The source material even jokes about it, calling it an excellent marketing strategy, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, but is there more to it than just a gameplay mechanic or a joke? Why make these powerful items so scarce, so ephemeral?
Well, I think it's Faerûn's way of preventing, like, runaway power creep, right? If adventurers could just collect these things indefinitely, hoard them, they'd become practically gods very quickly.
Okay, makes sense.
By making them single use, the world keeps a sort of cap on individual power. It ensures there's always a challenge, always a need for more, and it stops power consolidating too much over centuries.
Interesting. And that scarcity idea, that risk-reward thing, it applies to the Book of Infinite Spells too, doesn't it?
Perfectly. You get one spell a day from it. But if you turn the page, hoping for something better, you risk losing the spell you currently have. Forever. It's a gamble. High risk, potentially high reward.
So even with powerful magic, there are limits, risks. What about challenges for high-level characters? Things that test more than just brute force. Elminster's Ecologies talks about monster weaknesses, right?
Very specific stuff that forces you to think tactically, like dense pudding splitting when hit by fire or electricity, or fire trolls only being permanently killed by cold or acid damage. They just regenerate otherwise.
But the ones that really stand out are the ones that negate standard tactics, the magical creatures.
Oh, definitely. Take magic golems. Immune to spells, okay, but also immune to all enchanted weapons.
Meaning you're super powerful +5 magic sword fighter.
Suddenly needs to find a plain, old, maybe even rusty, non-magical weapon just to hurt the thing. It completely neutralizes their usual advantage, their power curve, forces them to adapt.
And the Merilith Demon, that 6-armed thing.
Yeah, 6 arms, 6 swords. And it can cast immunity to magic weapons. So any fighters nearby might literally have to drop their prized magic weapons and fight unarmed or find something mundane. It tests cleverness, resourcefulness, not just how hard you hit.
And this difference between the epic stories and the gritty reality of adventuring, that comes through in Leland's journal too.
Absolutely. Leland writes about the non-glamorous side, the drudgery of the march, the casual horror of slaughter, the smell of death everywhere. It's grim stuff.
But his journal also points out who the real hero was in one situation. Not the strongest warrior, but Mazzy Fenton.
Right. She saved the party from shadows, not by hacking them down, but by thinking fast, using stained glass in a ruined temple to reflect light and destroy them.
So heroism is about ingenuity, quick thinking, not just strength stats.
Exactly. And just to round things off on a slightly lighter, more practical note, Dradiel's Ruminations has some interesting recipes.
Oh, like what?
Well, if you're ever offered a belladonna bun cake, maybe pass.
Why's that?
It's described as exceptionally poisonous. Apparently, it left Radiel flat on the kitchen floor for a week.
Okay, note taken. Avoid the bun cake. Anything else?
There's an Orcish recipe. Vegetable surprise. The surprise. You replace all the ingredients with turnips.
Sounds earthy and cheap, I guess.
Low cost, low flavor dining indeed.
Right. So after wading through all this cosmic bursts, political maneuvering, detailed villain plots, magical item limits, turnip surprise, what does it all mean for you, the listener, trying to make sense of this world?
I think what really stands out when you connect all these dots is that even in Faerûn, this place dripping with high magic and divine intervention, the things that really drive events are still, well, politics, trade, and just raw, ruthless, often self-serving ambition.
It feels like history just repeats itself. The same script, just with different people playing the parts.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The rise and fall of power is the endless cycles.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. If Faerûn's history is these endless, often violent cycles, empires rising and falling, or chords returning, light versus dark again and again, what does that tell us about power itself? Think about the history of the Chosen of Mystra. Mystra, the goddess of magic herself. She actively tried to, well, breed a generation of powerful mortal allies, the Seven Sisters. Why? Because she anticipated her own death centuries before it happened in the time of troubles.
She was planning her succession through mortal children centuries in advance.
Exactly. So what does it say about power, even divine power, when the gods themselves see their end coming and spend centuries setting up their legacy, their replacements, through mortals?
Maybe the greatest power in Faerûn isn't just strength or magic. Maybe it's foresight. The ability to manage your own end, your own succession.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.